Quake fans rejoice as we carry on with the Stage 3 kickoff of the Quake Pro League. I'm joined, of course, by the magnificent Flea.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'd bring, reintroduce you.
Well, I mean, we've reached more or less a halfway point of our matches today.
It's a whole new show. It's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world, and we've got some great matches ahead of us still, but I think the one that we should be talking about, since it is the very next one coming up, is Sib versus dahang. Two American players going up against one another.
Yes, absolutely right. Obviously, Sib, he's fresh. He's back into the Quake Pro League. He was here in Stage 1. Stage 2 had a departure after suffering a loss where he was knocked out of the tournament. Yep. He now returns, obviously reinvigorated as well, as he picked up a couple of wins when he was out in Poland. He did a little bit of damage here and there. I believe being able to survive in the lower bracket for 2 rounds.
Absolutely. I mean, not only did he manage to beat West to secure his spot back in the Pro League, but he also knocked out Nosfa, a man who saw beat his opponent 3-0 earlier today. Nosfa, one of the stronger players on the North American side of the leaderboards, and Sib managed to just take him out pretty cleanly. So the man definitely has got some skills.
Yeah, he has. He was allowed to play clutch a couple of times as well, which people quickly learnt was not a good opportunity to give back to him, as he even said to us that he had tried to not play it as much as he could throughout challenges, just to hope to sneak it in on the vetoes. Now let's move on to his opponent, however. You would have heard of his name. You would have seen his game. Of course, the brother-in-arms of Rafa, also hailing from Team Liquid, it is dahang.
The man is an absolute beast. His combat skills are way up there. We saw that a lot back in the days of 2v2 when he played alongside Rafa. Rafa often was the one to make most of the decisions, but dahang so often came out on top in just raw damage done. These two, Sib and dahang, they've played each other twice during the Quake Pro League, and dahang won both of their matchups, so it's going to be interesting to see whether or not things are going to change here today. But dahang, you know, he's got to come up from a bit of a low, because his performance in Stage 2, I think a lot of people were expecting him to do better, right? As far as I'm aware, I think he beat Sparty, but then he just lost his 2 games up against, it was Chain, who knocked him out finally out of the entire tournament. So dahang hasn't been really doing that well, so we're going to take a look at the picks and bans for the upcoming match to see whether or not dahang stands a better chance this time.
Yeah, let's see if this is going to potentially affect things. And already we're off to a flying start, as not only have we got a scale bearer, and then over on Molten Falls we also have an Anarchy coming out for Sib, so there's a little bit of chaos that's been thrown into the mix. Of course, the 2 signature bans as well. dahang gets rid of Clutch, and Sib, as per usual, will try and get rid of the Strog and Pika.
I mean, that stands to no surprise, right? dahang is basically the person who introduced Strog and Peeker to the duel scene, and he has mastered the Peeker to basically no one else even comes close with the versatility and the innovativeness, rather, of using that little robot. So no surprises with the picks right there. It's going to be some very interesting matchups. The Scale Bearer versus the Ranger on a map like Vale. Sib will have the raw brawl, the stack, but of course, Vale is a very vertical map, multi-layered, and the orb can help a lot.
It's also so awkward as well because of so many of the close quarters angles. It's very claustrophobic, and with a champion like Scale being there, I don't know if that's going to be a benefit or a hindrance.
It could very well be both, right? As you just mentioned, there's a lot of these tight, winding corridors with not a lot of escape routes, so if Sib triggers the bull rush at the right time, dahang basically has got nowhere to escape if he doesn't have that orb to work with. So that could be a huge danger, but on the other hand, Scale is a pretty big target. There's a lot of places to kind of get stuck on, so if Sib's movement is not on point, he could be in trouble.
Talking of movement, of course, as well, Awoken being our second map in that series, it does bode well, as you've got the Doom pick that comes through, the double jump. We'll talk about it as much as we can till the cows come home, because it is so useful, especially on Awoken. The versatility that it adds to you is huge.
I mean, there's just so many of these good jumps, right? You can jump basically from like the heavy or the little ledge above heavy onto the railgun. You can jump from rockets all the way to T. You can jump from Mega to T. There's just so many jumps. You can jump from LG to Tribal. So much versatility. But before we jump into that, we're going to start things off with our first map, which is, of course, Vale of Pnath, and we're starting off on Sib's point of view.
Yeah, so the bull rush, big man, Let's see what carnage he's going to be able to cause. Returning for his debut in Stage 3. Sib, is he going to be able to get the upper hand versus dahang?
Sib now just holding down that top part of the map right there. Though dahang is making a move, takes some bad rockets. Sib doesn't want to use the bull rush just yet. Heavy will be the first item of the two, but they're close enough that whoever gets the first will get them both. Sib manages to just push away dahang. There we go, nice little orb. Sib unable to react fast enough. Dahang is dancing for such a long time. I feel like he wanted to get out of there so much sooner than that, but just wasn't able to find the right angle to drop down. And that is Sib taking a surprising first frag, I think, at least to a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's missing the railgun though. That's a big weapon that Sib wants to get his hands on and that he doesn't have just yet.
Obviously, he was talking to us in Poland as well and saying that he's been trying to expand his arsenal a little bit more and not just sticking to one weapon if it feels like it's not working. Instead of using weapons, though, he's going to use his body mass to just body slam into dahang, quick switch over to that LG, and quickly send 1,000 watts straight through his body. A nice second frag now, Flea.
I love the play from Sib right there. The bait, leaving the shotgun and the railgun up right there, just letting it dangle and bounce around in the hopes that dahang's gonna go for it. Out of nowhere though, dahang just shows up, does a good amount of damage. Sib, you're in a bad spot. Don't show your face.
Oh.
He should have left right away, but sticking around that long gave his opponent a perfect angle with the rail. And now dahang, he's got mega, he's got heavy. He's set to make a comeback happen. Sib, that's so risky. Takes a bad rocket, retaliates with a good rail though. And due to his original starting stack, Sib is not looking all too shabby.
Dang. One frag behind, but he could very quickly make up for that if he continues landing the rails that we've seen him distributing so far. Good control as well, as the Mega will be snatched away. The long arm of the law definitely coming out from this liquid man. He's perched on a pedestal, but he's not quite getting the shots off.
Dahang is gonna hear Sib, knows exactly where he is. Now Sib has got to play a bit of an evasive game. He does manage to get his stack up to that base level of 100, 125 armor, because that's what those heavy champions get to work with. Now Sib just needs to avoid taking damage, maybe land one rail, one rocket of his own, and he can make a move on a major item. Oh, I think he fumbled his movement a little bit right there. Little slow to get through the teleporter. Still, he manages to pick up the mega health, and that's a good rail. That is going to help him out a lot, because right now dahang really doesn't have much of an advantage at all, and Sib could definitely stake the fight to him. dahang playing a slow game though, he's just listening out very patiently. That rocket barely missing him. That could have gone so wrong for the liquid player. Nice rail from Sib, he must have had like a pixel to work with. Beautifully done. I love the rocket jump. Does dahang need the orb? He's so low. 12 points of health. Sib is going to finish that off beautifully. I must say, I am liking what I'm seeing out of Sib right now. He is playing well. His aim is on point, his decision making is good, he knows when to go fully aggressively and when not. That's a bad situation. That's the bounce pad of death. Because once you go up it and your opponent's waiting below, the knockback from the damage you take will just send you right back up it over and over again.
Yeah, literally nothing he could do there. Just set back on a trajectory towards his own demise. And the prophecy was fulfilled. Sib, 4 frags found. He's going to be looking to add a try and fifth to the tally as well. So they're about to hit the 4-minute mark. He grabs the armor, rocket jumps towards the ledge, high ground achieved, and nearly a high-flying frag added to the repertoire. Luckily enough, dahang is able to get away for the meantime.
Did you see that tiny little rocket right there through the little corner of the room? That's a very clever play. I had no idea that was there, but yeah, that's a very good angle to give your rocket just a little bit of extra range that your opponent just straight up wouldn't expect, and so they would take a lot of damage in a position that they thought themselves safe in. Nice little rocket for Sib though. 63 damage is gonna send dahang unable to really contest for this just yet. Liquid player trying to land a rail, unable to do so. Sib looking healthy. There's 5 minutes left to go and he's got a 3-frag lead. Oh no! This could go wrong for either player. The bull rush just sends him straight into the door frame, kills the momentum, ends the ability as dahang evades it masterfully with the orb.
5-minute warning.
We just hit the 5-minute mark, and dahang still needs 3 more kills to put himself back into an equal footing versus Sib. That should be one of them achieved, as the railgun finish will look spectacular after he lights him up with the LG to start. Now, can he chain this together? Can he start to actually get a bit more bang for his buck as he begins to chase? Knows the location of Sib, goes for the teleporter. Sib still lying in wait. Does so much damage. dahang barely clutching onto his life here. And Sib might be re-engaging. Is it the right decision to make? Of course it is.
These are some ballsy plays coming out of Sib. First, waiting at the exit of the teleporter with the gauntlet in his hand, just knocking dahang back a little bit, and then just pushing with the rail like that. Out comes the bull rush. dahang doesn't have the orb, and down he goes. Beautiful shot from Sib. That was so much momentum that he gave his opponent with that little love tap.
It's ridiculous.
Sib didn't pick up the small armor though. He's in a bad spot right now. dahang knows this. dahang doesn't want to let him escape. Okay, Sib. Slow walking his way out of the room. Hears his opponent leave above him. Good, clever plays from Sib.
Looks like we're just watching Sib streaming right now. He's just playing so comfortably, so confident in all of these fights and doing so much damage. Tries to get the flick off with a rail. Knows dahang is hot behind him. Giving him a lot of opportunities, but luckily enough, dahang isn't going to overextend. He needs to start pushing him though, needs to do some damage. That's a good opening opportunity. Drops him down to 40 and the rail will connect. Now he's only 3 kills behind.
I was clenching that entire time because you feel the rail coming, right? You feel dahang chasing him down, and you've got that internal clock saying like, you're not in the clear, you're not in the clear, you're not in the bam. Down he goes. And now Sib, he's got a 3-frag lead, he's got to hang on to it for 3 more minutes. The bull rush, very daring, won't be enough. The damage, it did come true, but dahang just had the better stack. Now Sib's going to lose out on heavy as well. Maybe even on mega too, yeah. Sib won't engage for mega. A little bit too risky, and I agree with him. Good play right there.
Wow, okay. Lovely tracing there coming across from dahang. Could have been so punishing if he landed that. We basically have to wait for the next rotation of items for Sib to attempt to get his foot back in the door. So he is going to wait. But both of them are in close proximity of the heavy. Does dahang realize his location? Drops down, spots him. Splash damage from the rocket will do a lot to try and deny. Dire Orb goes out. Won't commit with it as he's lost so much health. And finally he falls. He will deny the heavy at least.
Those opening rockets, they ruined the fight for dahang.
Yeah.
He did 0 damage with 3 consecutive rockets, while Sib was just, oh well, let me just take this time to do a lot of LG damage over and over and over again. And by that point, dahang just lost so much of its stack that one rail at the start crippled him completely. And now 3 frags in 2 minutes. Possible, but difficult. Now we're gonna see how well Sib can play this out of control game.
Well, it looks like instead he's just going to go headstrong against his opponent. This is still easily a game that dahang can get back into as well here. 2 frags is all he requires. He's got control as he just picks up the mega health. A light armor to replenish him as well. To pretty much full stack. He's going to be sitting pretty with this. Dire Orb goes out. He fully commits to dive in. 10 seconds till heavy's up. They're fighting right next to it, and he finds a further frag. Now it's all down to this. 1 frag between them both in 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Dahang is just so good at keeping his composure in these bad moments. Oh no, Sib, he was stargazing right there as dahang came from the ground level. Nothing that could be done about that. 7-7 Sib. Is it slipping away? He needs 1 more frag at the least to win the map now. Minute left till we hit the overtime mark. Let's see if either player can end it before then.
OG around the corner. Lights him up, starts to strip that stack away from him. dahang in a great position, towering over Sib with the level of HP he has. He can tank so much, but the same cannot be said for Sib. Instead, he might be tanking this one and falling as he gets chased, has to go straight through the porter, tries to respond with a shot into the back of dahang. He is stripping that stack, but he needs to capitalize now.
Sib actually had an opportunity to steal mega right there, but he decided to play it safe. Don't know about that one, because now dahang will also get himself the heavy. He's 160 in terms of stack. And we might as well have entered overtime right now. It is the golden frag right now. Whoever gets the next kill will win map 1.
Oh, and it could be over sooner rather than later. As Sib is taking rails to the lips. A ton of damage done. Coming up to the 10-second mark, and already so much of an impact was left on the map. The Dire Orb initiation goes in. LG comes out to play. Sib's Bull Rush barely keeps him alive. The rocket is casted by, almost hitting him. He is still in the game, but he's so low it won't take much to stop him from breathing. And that is going to be what finishes him. dahang with a last shot.
Sib, I hope that doesn't break his morale. He had a good start, a very commanding lead, but it slipped right through his fingers, right? He had a very good frag advantage, but just couldn't hang on to the control. And then when he was forced to play out of control, he was unable to consistently keep the hang at bay. And you just saw his stack, or rather, the frags that he had just dwindle time and time again. And then in the end, the hang just tied it up and ran with it.
What's really rough is it felt like there was a couple of fights that could have been avoided from Sib.
Yeah.
That instead he just kind of either got caught off guard or was just too exposed. And that really turned the tides. As soon as you started giving dahang leeway to get back into the game, he's going to run away with it.
We're gonna see that in some of the replays as well. This is still a bizarre one. Like the hang, I think he meant to fall down so much sooner and not go back up the teleporter or something. But Sib, yeah, he had a really, really strong showing at the start right there. But the hang, of course, Ranger is a good counter pick against the scale. We all know it. This was such a good rail. Bam, through the open door. Sib played this well though. I hope he doesn't let this get to him too much, because this was a pretty strong opener. But of course, he needs the stamina to bring the same kind of momentum and place into the next one. And look at that tracking. That is just nasty, the hang. My goodness, the damage out of those. Sib with a lot of the risky play. Look at that. Just how fast the hang moved down there, all because of the momentum that he got from the bull rush. And here we're gonna kind of see it like fall apart. I love the double back here. And bop, down goes the hang. But now the 3 frag lead, it's all gonna start going wrong right here. And you often see that the hang didn't have that much stack left. He had 40 points of health after the previous engagement. And this is one of the examples that you were referring to, right? Sib getting caught off guard. Stargazing, as I said, just looking up with the LG, expecting his opponent to show his face above. Nope, the hang is right there next to him.
It's so rough. A couple of micro adjustments that could have changed the outcome of the game. Instead, history was written in favor of dahang as he locked it down and wins the first map. We really have our answer there of who is going to be able to overthrow on the first, but of course there's still 2 more to go, and this is where things start to get a bit more interesting as we move on to Awoken.
Oh yeah, this might be a very different story, might definitely, or possibly rather, work in Sib's favor a little bit more. And Sib, obviously, coming in from the Challengers League, right? He's kind of starving for points. Oh, yeah. Let's be real here. Every single map that he can take is going to help him out tremendously. So he needs to fight for every last one of them, maintain his composure, because even if you lose 2-1, still, that one map that you can't take, that could spell the difference between staying in the Pro League or having to fight in relegation.
Yeah, it keeps you further up the leaderboard, and it helps to try and starve your opponent from climbing too high and making it so you physically cannot catch up with them and overtake them later over the course of the stage. But that will still be decided, all based off the next 2 maps. There's still a chance that this could be a reverse sweep for Sib, but he'd need to absolutely bring his A game. He looked damn good on that initial map, but he needs to look even better going forward.
Yep. And going forward we shall, as we are jumping into the second match of this series. As you mentioned earlier, it is Awoken, and we're starting this one off on Sib's point of view, playing as the Doomslayer, going up against the Hangs. Nyx, nice little opening rail. That takes a lot out of a squishy champion like Nyx. But the dodges, of course. Nyx, she's fast, she's slim, she's difficult to hit.
Sib, early use there. Just pops that to try and get away. Also denies a couple of the hourglasses. As you said, a big impact factor when rocking a Doom can be the fact your opponent will constantly have their ability up based off the fact there's just an abundance of hourglasses. If you're on a Nyx, that would literally be heaven.
Absolutely. Nyx is one of those champions that's pretty dependent on her abilities. She's so squishy, doesn't have a lot of stacks, so without her Ghost Walk, if you can catch her off guard or just even just gets her in a straight fight, you're very likely to come out on top, so she needs that ability. Sib has been doing an excellent job with the rail, so I don't think he's missed. Well, that's the first one that he's missed so far, I believe. And that's no easy feat on a champion like Nyx. Heavy is up behind him. Sib has no issues just delaying it a little bit. Now there's some split between the two, and again, a good rail. And meanwhile, dahang finally managing to get himself a railgun as well. And that might be one of his primary weapons in this matchup.
A minute already into the game here. And still, very slow gameplay between the both. They don't want to overextend, no one looking to try the wrong foot forward, although dahang could get into a position to be a little bit cheeky here. However, the rotations works out perfectly for Sib. He should have control of both of the major items, but he's looking to really dive in. Commits towards the firefight, doesn't land the unzoomed shot from the rail onto dahang, but he's really stripping his life force. Every connection there with the LG was getting him closer and closer to his first death.
I'm almost certain that he actually meant to rocket right there. He didn't mean to rail, but he switched to the wrong weapon. Oh, dahang landing a good rail. He's so low though. Sib should absolutely pressure this a little bit more, but instead decides to play it safe, collect himself a bit of armor. Yeah, that could have been more. If he had continued to apply pressure on dahang, he doesn't know that dahang's to his left. That's so bad for him. The rail comes out. Dahang has a pretty good idea of where Sib is at. Sib finding the better angle though. This is risky. If dahang pushes, it should be the end. Yeah. Bit of a careless push from Sib to put himself that far out there, knowing that dahang could just jump through the teleporter.
Didn't work out fantastically for him. Ooh, big connections as well from dahang, locking on with this rail. Two smooth shots. He looked for a third, but wasn't given the golden opportunity to punish. Instead, he is darting all around the map. He is so speedy right now, over towards Banana as he chases. Aggression is the key, and the rail shot was absolutely beautiful.
See, that is what Sib should have done earlier in that same situation. Push, 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 finish off your opponent who doesn't have an ability, who's at 10 points of health. But he didn't, and he looped back around, and it's costing him dearly. These single mistakes can matter so much in this game, and Sib might be paying for his. Now dahang looking really stacked. Doesn't know exactly where Sib is at. Out comes the Ghost Walk. Did Sib here? I think he's got a good idea. Yep, he knows, but he's outstacked. He's outgunned. Bam. Beautiful rockets. Dahang just reading perfectly that Sib would come down over there trying to pick up the small armor, and he just cut him off like that.
That was really, really nice rocket work. And at this point, it's already starting to look like dahang is really riding that high from the opening map and wants to try and at least put this series towards a 2-0. We're 4 minutes into the game. He's got 3 frags here. His Ghost Walk's about to come off cooldown as well, so if they do get into another kerfuffle, he can escape if things start to turn sour. They are going to be battling over the Mega Spawn. It's up in 1 second. He looks to concede it. The fadeaway shot from the rail, barely going to tag. Sib is so low though, he's not in a good spot. He makes a smart decision to dip out rather than continue an awkward fight.
A lot of damage was exchanged right there between the two players. Dahang didn't even need to use his Ghost Walk, and that's going to help him out a lot. He managed to stay at such a high health threshold that he never needed to pop his ability. That's a good amount of tribal damage. Sib realizes this too, is looking to push in. Fortunately for him, he messes up the jump, ends up giving dahang a lot of resources and a good rail angle too. Heavy will spawn, Sib takes it, but he's got no way out of the room as dahang cleans him up once again. 4-0 as we hit the halfway mark.
It's a big lead for dahang. He's in a great spot. He just needs to maintain now and not really make any mistakes. Don't give Sib too many opportunities to actually find frags. Again, a fight towards the Mega. 10 seconds too early though, so there's no point hanging around as Sib will keep on moving because the Heavy is about to spawn in. But he was too slow, couldn't get there in time. Has to give it to dahang. This now means he's actually got complete control of both major items. Dahang is in a really good spot, especially if he would have landed that rail. Instead, looks to try and do damage with the rockets, turns the corner, the LG comes out, and it just does enough to scare Sib off for the meantime.
Sib definitely has enough time to mount a comeback, but he needs to do a lot more than just that. Those kinds of rails, that's what he needs. The rocket, though, this is gonna hurt badly. Dahang getting a complete misread, down to 25 points of health. Sib, does he realize just how low his opponent is? He's set up very nicely. Oh, the tribal just a moment too soon. That could have actually killed Dahang if he had gone for it. Mega is up. Good play from Sib, but he eats! That was such a bad rocket to take, and then a rail as well. Dahang is just out-aiming his opponent right now, and it shows. Sib had an opportunity for a comeback. Hang on. Oh! Look at this angle!
That's so cheeky.
Sib! Gotta love it, but that's a little less positive for our raw player as Dahang extends his lead ever more. But I loved that double jump. Never seen that one before.
No, that was really nice. Trying to make the best of a bad position that he was in, forced into a corner, but still trying to play as if he was the confident man. Ooh, taking the quarter back to fight Dahang. Quite risky, and will pay the price for it. Finally goes down, but it's 7 minutes into the game, and there's still 4 more frags for Sib to try and tie this up. So this really hasn't done that much for him yet.
It's still entirely possible, though. 3 minutes for 4 frags, very much doable. If he can just catch Dahang pops his Ghost Walk, and then he gets 1 frag, he snowballs it into 2. This is still going to be a very close game. But he needs to find him. There we go, that's a good opener. Can he find another rail? Oh, almost. I think that would have actually been a kill. Dahang, is he gonna pop the Ghost Walk? Sib's just gonna chase. I don't think Dahang's actually gonna... Oh, there we go, uses it just in time. Nice, good shot from Sib through the teleporter. This is entirely within the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, he can bring this back, especially off of that kill as well. This puts him into a huge position now. He's got way more to work with. The arsenal's more fleshed out. He's got control of the major items as well, but he has to land these shots. 2 misses with the rails. That's going to come back to bite him on the bottom. This is really falling into squeaky bum time now. 2 minutes for 3 frags, and he doesn't realize Dahang's behind him. The trap, he gets the drop on him. He's so low, both of them, within an inch of their lives. But Dahang gets the kill, and that might be it. That could be him securing this map win.
That looks like it might spell GG. He didn't check his corners enough, and Dahang was just sneakily waiting right there. Still got a Ghost Walk to boot, so he will definitely make it out of that situation alive. Sib steals Mega, but takes a rail. I don't think this one's going anywhere anymore, Jackie. This might just be too tall of an order for Sib, as Dahang is just gonna play a safe game, really. He's waiting for heavy and doesn't even go for it. See, that's exactly what I mean. The save game, the rail will finish it either way. Sib's health was just too low that even that sudden injection of armor couldn't save him anymore.
No. So unfortunate. There was a small chance, a small sliver of hope for Sib, but now that is completely dead and gone. Dahang is looking to take this 2-0 and potentially pick it up as a 3-0 series. That will be what his gaze is now set on going forward, as there's only around 45 seconds left in this map. There's not really a chance for Sib to wake up.
Especially not with those rails coming through. Dahang just keeps on landing the shots over and over again. Sib, I do feel like Sib, his rail at the beginning of the map was absolutely on point, but as his started winding down, Dahang just started revving his up and started landing these amazing shots on a pretty consistent basis too, and that just settled it for Sib.
Well, that's the problem as well, is we know he's a player that sometimes can suffer from not really having 100% faith in himself.
Yeah.
And if you start to really have a bit of a sloppy start to the game and Dahang gets so much momentum over you, you might begin to second guess yourself and fall into the position we see this end in, with Dahang just looking so much more dominant. The one saving grace is, obviously there is a third map, but for Sib, if you put his performance from the first map back into your minds, he looked damn good. He just needs to take both of these maps out of his mind now, take it as a best of one, go in there, play the best Quake he can, and hopefully secure himself those 8 points.
I think he should go for more of these sneaky plays, the little traps. They worked out so well for him at the beginning, right? On Vale of Pnath. His first few frags were almost all him just setting up nicely at the top of the teleporter, waiting for the Dahang to round the corner, and it worked out beautifully for him. But this time around on Awoken, it seemed like the roles were essentially reversed, because it was the Dahang doing most of that against him, setting up for these sneaky little plays and rails over and over again.
It's so unfortunate. But that's the way the cookie is going to crumble, with dahang dominating on Awoken. The sleeping giant from Team Liquid is definitely fully wide awake.
And also just a few too many missed opportunities, I feel like, from Sib. There were several situations where he brought dahang really, really low, and then he decided to not pursue it and instead go and stack right back up. And in doing so, he gave his opponent just too much of an opportunity, too much of an angle to get back into the game. And he shouldn't have done that.
No, I think that's a really key point that we actually see a lot of our pros make, where there's times where the opportunity is either fight or flight. You've got them low, but sure, you could back off and get a mega, replenish your stack. But in some of those moments, you need to make that internal decision to instead just go for the aggressive play.
Yeah.
It's better to punish them and then play from that spawn rather than just backing off and essentially giving it a stalemate.
Absolutely. One of the few players, though, who consistently gets away with that is Rafa.
Yeah.
He is one of the most controlled players in the world, and he has no issues leaving someone live with 10, 20, 50 points of health when he's like, you know what? I'm just going to collect the items. Heavy, I'm going to pick up a small armor on my way out, the heavy, the mega, and you've got nothing. You've got absolutely nothing. You've got 0 armor to your name. At most, you'll be up at 80 points of health, and I'm going to catch you, and I'm going to finish you safely without risking any damage to my own stack. So that can definitely work, but absolutely not always. And I feel like, as you said, a lot of players are still struggling to find that balance and leave their opponents with too many opportunities at times.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to just take the bullet and, go for it.
Absolutely.
And if it works out, it will pay off massively. Let's see what the payoff for this series is going to be, though. If dahang the accountant will be able to completely overthrow Sib, or if it is going to be a 2-1 series. We step back into the action now with a decider on Molten Falls.
Sib, of course, is someone who likes his faster champions a fair bit. We see him play them quite frequently, delaying Mega quite a bit of the spawn, getting some inventive camera angles right here, seeing both of our players move around in third person. Sib just took a bad rail. I think he just popped the injection to get himself healed right back up as he's making his way back to his main item. The Hang definitely did most of the damage in that first engagement, and Sib is struggling.
Quick back rocket, though, as he tries to slow down the push. Realizes there was a turret there, so he doesn't want to try and overextend. Needs to destroy it! Barely stays alive, and dahang will fly in like the Flying Dutchman on that Eisen and just zaps him down with the LG to punish.
Such a clever turret play, too. He knew he had done so much damage to Sib, so he just threw it down to cover his escape route, making it almost impossible for Sib to get out. He should have kept running. He would have had time to just run past the turret and get out, but by basically backing up and then just hesitating, he waited for it to get fully stacked up, or fully deployed rather, and that ultimately ended up killing him.
I think it just put the fear into him, and he didn't want to run the risk, terrified of going down to that turret. Now, 1 minute 30 in, dahang. He has the lead, but Sib, is there anything he can get going? Can he try and get under the skin of dahang here? As he is starting to get himself into a good position. If the rail would have connected, it would have been lovely. Instead, he's the one that gets chipped, loses out that mega. And the battle for the heavy could be very awkward now.
Now, Sib will take down that turret, though, so he will not be taking any damage from the deployable. Oh, the LG too strong. Sib positioned himself too far out there.
Yeah.
He could have been closer to the doorway, achieved the same thing, but he jumped too far into the room to escape without taking any damage. And now dahang is on a warpath. Sib was just waiting there with the gauntlet out. Nice little escape. dahang unable to find the damage. And now it's the race for the heavy. I don't think Sib should be here. Not with the stack that he has now. And indeed, he decides against sticking around. He's gonna leave heavy to dahang, and might actually be in a good position to set up for mega already, rather. Yeah, he should be able to take mega, especially after landing that rail. Will drop down on it. This is bad for dahang. The accountant has to get out of here, still lingering around. Sib leaving him down with 16 points of health. Good plays from Sib. Very quick on the reaction right there.
Yeah, dahang. I mean, it's unlucky for him, really. He goes back through, just completely annihilated, stripped of any of his life force, as Sib's hitting some filthy rails. If he can keep this up, it could be a whole different storyline to what we've seen on the previous maps. He looks good when those rails hit.
Mega again going to Sip. Seeing a bit of a split right there. Dahang taking heavy. Sip getting the health. He's got to be careful though. That tribal that'll shred these light champions. Heavy's the next major item to spawn. Oh, Dahang actually drops down. Lands a good rail, but he surrendered position on Heavy. Sip shouldn't be sticking around, I don't feel like. Dahang dropped for Mega. At least Sip does secure the Heavy, because that could have gone wrong. Dahang dropping down like that, I don't really know about that play. Good trap from Sip. Not sure about the injection, but it'll pay off in the end. Did he think that he got railed, maybe? Maybe he felt like he took damage and he just wanted to heal it right back up, but
I don't know. It was a bit of an odd one, because obviously it seemed like the downtime you have in between, where you're disarmed off the back of the injection, that could have actually spelled a bit of a downpour for him. Luckily enough, it didn't come back to bite him. He does get through, finding that frag. That was an interesting one, though.
Yeah. Either way, he's tied things all back up. Sip still in the running. Definitely not going to take this one lying down. Oh, that's a good play from Dahang. Gets excellent positioning. Sip, 0 armor to his name. The rails need to be good. Needs to dodge the rockets. Escape as you still can. What is Dahang gonna do? Dahang is going to play it passive. Not gonna just chase to Mega! Oh, Sip with the misreads! He had a clear path onto Mega, but he just assumed, I think, that Dahang would chase, or that Dahang had already picked up Heavy, or was going around completely the other way.
He's got inside his own head, expected the counterplay. Instead, Dahang just roamed, just carried on pushing. That's awful. That's such a bad position to fall into now, as Dahang, he gets a fair bit of control off the back of that. It's also a 1 frag lead as well. We're 5 minutes into the game now. Ooh, that's an awkward fight to take after 2 really clinical rails get slapped into him as well. Sib, he is on the back foot. At least he should be able to claim a Mega.
Yep. He does get the health boost. Oh, takes a bad rocket on and another and a rail too. Dahang. If that would have been a kill, that would have been frag moving material right there. Unfortunately for Dahang, doesn't pan out that way, but he does finish it off with a little bit of LG right there. Now Sip's in trouble.
Yeah, this is bad. Doubles his frags, and he's looking to get even more. Sip is taking so much damage, and it'll be the HMG to finally lay him to rest. 5 frags now. Maybe 6 if he can snatch this one away, as he will get the Mega. No, Sib, too fast for his own good, dives back in, snatches the Mega, and stays alive, barely.
Dahang now, solid control of the top of the map. He's gonna drop down, gets a really good read on Sip, but the damage needs to be there as well. Hang on, this is an opportunity for Sip. Can't find the angle on the rail though, and Heavy is up in a few seconds. If Sip knows this, this might be his ticket back into it. He does secure himself the Heavy. He's got a good setup for Mega though. Oh man, that's a little bit of cheeky damage right there. And every little bit of damage matters so much more when you do it to a light champion, because they just have that naturally lower stack to work with. And that's just sending Sip right back to the drawing board. He needs to stack up a little bit, whereas Dahang can just play much more of a passive defensive game and essentially wait things out. Good switch to the LG. Oh my god. That's the aim, right? The aim that we were hyping up when we were talking about Dahang, explaining that even though Rafa often tends to overshadow him a little bit when it comes to duel at least, this man knows how to handle the entire arsenal of Quake, and he does so extremely well.
Very proficient with every single weapon in the game. So smart, but even better when it comes to his brawn. At this point, it's a 7-2 scoreline. We're coming up towards the 8-minute mark as well. Dahang, is he looking to claim himself a 7th kill? Potentially so. As the rocket boop! I thought that was going to be the ring out.
Could have very well been, but Sip staying in the arena. He's not giving up just yet, but this is a dire situation right now. With 2 minutes left to go. Ouch! Ouch!
Oh, someone
How
get this
is-
man a plaster. He has hurt himself.
Sip's still alive after all that. He should have been dead a long time ago, but he's clinging on for dear life. But to what ends? Can he still find some frags? Is there anything he can do to bring it back?
If he goes up the bounce pad, it might not be the best decision to make. Luckily enough, instead, he loops back and tries to catch dahang off guard. The rail comes out, but the direct rocket is going to shatter him and do more damage to his confidence as well, as it sends him packing. Relocates as he starts to head back on over towards the heavy. It is up in 1 second, so he should be able to claim it. Dahang is hot on his tail, though. Chasing. He's still not picked up the heavy. He is close by. Finally grabs it. If he drops down, the turret might have had something to say, but instead, it's his railgun that slays Dahang. He needs 3 frags in the space of 60 seconds, and that's a good start.
That is indeed an excellent way for Sip to open up. 1 minute though, 3 frags to go. It is possible, but he needs to hit shots like that consistently. There we go. Here's a good opener for Sip. Can he get a good read of the spawn? He can. The hang spawns at LG. 1. Can he find another? Yes, he can. It's a 1 frag game right now. Heavy goes to Sip. This is far from over just yet. And he's gonna find him again. Sip. The hang ended up suiciding. That's fine. That's fine. 5-5. Sip still in it to win it. 30 seconds left. Tied game. Sip's looking pretty good. He's got to be careful about that turret, though. There's a turret down here to jump at, and I don't know if he's familiar with it.
How on earth is this the position that we've come back into? It was so set that it was going to be a 3-0 for Dahang. Now there's potential that this could be a 2-1 split. Sib, 10 seconds till sudden death. Lands the rail. Stops Dahang dead in his tracks. He gets the better of him as he tries to delve above. He doesn't want to run any risks and throw this one away, so he tries to hold on strong. Denies the light as we fall into sudden death. It's all down to this. 1 frag will decide the outcome of this map. Dahang playing it slow, tiptoes his way down. Sees the turret,
this
takes
is really
it out,
close.
but it's the
Nice LG.
backstab.
The hang? Is he gonna go down? Oh, both players really low and Sip finds it! Man, what an excellent comeback from Sip.
That's ridiculous. To finish it with a super shotgun as well from a substantial distance. Sib barely steals this one away. The comeback into that game was phenomenal.
Sip should absolutely be very content with his performance.
Yeah.
That was an amazing comeback, and even the other 2 games, they were pretty close, right? Even if the hang ended up pulling away more and more towards the end, Sip really started off really strong, did a good job controlling everything. His aim was on point, and then that comeback, that shows more than anything else a great deal of mental resilience. So many players, when they're down that amount of frags against the top player, they would panic. They would think, it's basically over. I'm just gonna run through the motions, but there's nothing I can really do. But Sip, he just really showed that he's got the mindset, he's got the spirit to continue fighting until the very end, and it paid off for him beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, he nailed it. That was flawless Sib on display there for the last 45 seconds of that match. He crushed it. Ridiculous rails. Just
Absolutely.
how impactful they were will just ring true for a very, very long time.
This is reassuring to me. Even though he lost 2-1, the fact that it came this close and he made that combat happen against a top player of the Hang's caliber, that to me really shows that Sib belongs in the Quake Pro League. He's absolutely at home here, and if he can continue playing and improving the way he has, I think we're going to see some great things come out of him.
Series-wide, he looked damn good. He had some amazing performances, some highlight reel-worthy frags.
Absolutely.
But most importantly, I think it's the resilience that was shown here.
4 frags in 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Crazy.
That's amazing. Sip. Congratulations, the Hang, of course, for winning the series, but my god, Sip, he has earned his spot in the Quake Pro League. He's going above and beyond to show that he too can play with the biggest of boys, and I'm loving it.
Yep, he is tussling. He went toe-to-toe in the middle of the cell and absolutely raised hell. Here is the tweet from Sib as well. after he basically wanted to try and show that he is coming back in. He wants to absolutely show that he is good enough, and I think he has proven that.
That's a tweet from the 3rd of November 2019, so that is when he dropped out of the Pro League to Dewey. He's saying, this isn't the end, it's a start to a new beautiful chapter in my life, the beginning, and I think he's living up to that. Congratulations, Seb. Well done.
Exactly. Those words have rung true as he is proving he is at that level.
Yeah.
He's absolutely smashed it there. A 2-1 series. Dahang walks away with the majority of the points, but Sib has come back in with a wonderful opener into stage 3, obviously, after not being with us for an entire stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to Dahang, this is more or less what we can expect.
Yeah.
Great aim, great place, great control, just, you know, overall greatness coming out of the Liquid player. But really, I think that most people's attention will be caught by Sib, right? And this spells a lot of good things for stage 3. If this is the kind of level that we can expect from all our challengers, my goodness, some of the established pros, they need to look out.
Yeah, you want to have your guard up and really give them the respect they deserve, because they're proving they deserve it. A magnificent performance there as he will lock it down. If that one got you excited for some high-flying, high-fragging Quake, there is still even more to come tonight. A whole lot of action coming up as our next game will be up after the break. Let's check out who is going to be duking it out on the server as we will delve into Game 6. Don't worry about that one. We'll tease that there.
Yeah, we'll tease it.
We'll tease it there. That's what we like to do. Of course, we will be back with more Quake action. Stay tuned. More to come. If you're enjoying the show tonight, hit us up on Twitter, #Quake Pro League. Let us know your favourite moments. Me and Flea will rejoin you in a few seconds with more Quake.